Water is life. Australians, we need to wake as many as possible to the crisis that is unfolding. We are asking people to please take note and become aware of what is going on in the Pilliga. This is basically the last rites, will and testament of one of the most amazing paradises we have here in Australia. The Pilliga Forest and our artesian water basin that is 12,000 years old, that is the most pristine water in the world, is all about to be destroyed. There is going to be a ripple effect, a domino effect through this country that is going to affect all of us. With the desecration and contamination of our artesian water basin through Santos and their coal seam gas mining, this is going to affect the water level tables. Our farmers will no longer be able to water their crops. They'll have to continually sink their bores down to reach the water table. This costs tens of thousands of dollars each time they do it. This is also going to affect the flow of rivers. The artesian water basin is the source of the rivers that flow from northern New South Wales down through South Australia and down through northern New South Wales to Victoria. This is critical. It is a red alert. We have the amazing Gomeroi people. In particular, there are some women, Donna Bartlett, Deborah Briggs, Sue Ellen, Linda, etc. There are so many of the Gomeroi people that have been fighting this for 15 years. They are trying to save, protect the Pilliga Forest, the hot springs and our artesian water basin. This is sacred and spiritual land where the Gomeroi people have for generations conducted all of their religious ceremonies. Their culture is based on the protection of country, of Mother Earth. And we now have, which is not uncommon for our Australian government, to do deals with multinational corporations. Santos has a track record of contamination and destruction, creating environmental hazards as they did back with the uranium mining, etc. We are about to lose one of the most pristine and precious areas in this country. Now, the Pilliga region, this is up near where the main food source of all of Australia is. It's the main food basin in Narrabri. With Santos being allowed to put in all of these wells, they plan to put in 850 over a 25-year period. And we know they've got plans to do more. This is going to destroy over 1,000 square kilometres of land. It will affect every Australian. Our river systems are going to dry up. Our food prices have already tripled in just 12 months. When our main food basin is destroyed, food scarcity is absolutely an assurity. The other thing we need to consider is, with all of this, the coal seam and gas mining requires fracking. They also use the water to wash the coal. The concoction that they make up with our water is highly toxic. It contains household bleach, arsenic, lead, hundreds of toxic, carcinogenic chemicals, and you can research this and look it up yourself. This concoction, this sludge as it becomes, sits on not just the top of the surface of our soils and blows up into the winds and contaminates our air. It seeps down through the soil. It contaminates our soil. It contaminates our water. Our crops are sprayed with contaminants. We are in a situation where everything seems to be an hypocrisy. There is a lot of double speak. Now, Isa and I did a live last night, and she was saying, she was giving information on the direction from the member at the tribunal who ruled in favour of Santos and gave them the green light. So his words were that this is a responsible exploitation. It says it all. We are surrounded by doublespeak, and people seem to have this cognitive dissonance around things. Logic and discernment seem to have disappeared from people's minds. I honestly don't know if it's to do with the fluoride. I seriously don't. But you've got to look at the agenda, this worldwide agenda of taxing people for their carbon footprint, clean, green, renewable energy. Yet the governments, with their dodgy deals with these multinational corporations, is scraping everything that is green off the surface of our earth. It is destroying the forests, the felling of trees. Forests and all our wilderness areas are carbon sinks. That is a fact. Our forests and our oceans are carbon sinks. That is how nature balances things out. So the irony to speak of and taxing everyday people for their carbon footprint when these multinational companies are destroying habitation. This destroys ecosystems, wildlife. It is an absolute desecration and slaughter, and it is a domino effect that will ripple down to us. Water is life, and without that we cannot sustain ourselves. Our food will disappear. We lose the ability to sustain ourselves. We are meant to be the most intelligent life form on earth, yet we are the only one that desecrates that which sustains us. What we would like for all Australians to do is please accept our invitation. We welcome everybody to come up and see the Pilliga, the last rites, will and testament of the Pilliga before this paradise is destroyed. The Gomeroi people will be educating us on their spiritual and sacred land, their ceremonies and their customs, and how they have protected country through these customs, through all of their sacred ceremonies for generation after generation. We will also be educating people on Santos and exactly what are the ramifications of coal seam gas mining and fracking. Factual information provided by not just expert scientists and engineers, but by facts that are evidenced through history. There are areas in America where lakes and rivers are toxic. We have the same here in Australia in areas. with the Condamine River now. You can't light a match near it, it'll catch fire. We wish everybody to please come up. Make it a part of your holiday to drive up and be welcomed. We want everybody to come up for these educational tours and everybody to be respectful. This is to be done in the right frequency. This is sacred, spiritual land, and it is for the purpose of education, as knowledge is power, and we must share what we know. We will also touch on the absolute unlawfulness of this. It is all unconstitutional, and it has been the way for the past few decades for those that sit in government to create laws and acts to give the illusion that what they are doing is lawful. But it is to the absolute detriment of all Australians, many of these acts. The Water Act is one of them, and it is hard to comprehend how they have been able to get away with giving themselves water rights. Every parliamentarian has given themselves water rights, and they are trading our water. We are all aware it goes a lot deeper than that. They have sold our land, our minerals, and our resources to multinational foreign corporations. This has been going on for decades. The Australian government is a corporation. It has an ABN number and an ACN number. Its first and primary obligation, which is evidenced through its actions and the desecration of this country, is undoubtable. Please share this and get as many people as you can to watch and understand what is going on in our country. We are going to be left with land that looks like something out of a Mad Max movie if we do not stop this. The damage this is going to cause is irreparable. There are many reports. The CSIRO has also produced a report, and all of it confirms what I am saying, that this is going to create an environmental hazard and irreparable damage. Our artesian water basin, I reiterate, is the purest water in the world, and our government is trading in it. Section 100 of the Constitution does not allow for them to have water rights, and it does not allow for anybody to abridge the right to water. So it is up to us to act now. As I said, I have been saying for a long time, Australia, we are in crisis. All I can say now is critical red alert, because we are about to see the utter destruction and desecration of our country. So lawfully and peacefully is how we do things. Please everybody make a point of going up to the Pilliga, experience the beauty up there, and it would be wonderful to have our children taught all about the sacredness and spirituality of this land and how important Mother Earth and nature is to our very life. It is the essence of our life. We talk about or hear about through mainstream media and the government narrative continually of climate change. We have Stop Climate Change groups. We hear continually about our carbon footprint and how we must be careful. All of this desecration, removing and destroying our forests and our wilderness, diverting our rivers, contaminating our artesian water basin, contaminating our soils, our air and our waterways. This is what is causing climate change, contaminating and causing toxicity through our air, our water, our soils, our land, destroying nature's carbon sinks. If we did not learn from the Murray-Darling Basin, and perhaps many didn't, because the true story was never revealed, the Murray-Darling Basin area, we need to think back on that, how our river systems were destroyed. Now, I was unaware until the weekend that the Menindee Lakes in 2014, which are at the source of the river systems in the Murray-Darling Basin, supplying the Murray-Darling Basin River, the Condamine River in New South Wales, and the Barwon-Darling River in Queensland. The Menindee Lakes were drained in 2014 by the New South Wales Government and the Murray-Darling Basin Authority. We had a very wet winter in 2016, and those lakes filled to 94% capacity. The New South Wales Government and the Murray-Darling Basin Authority decided to drain the lakes again, and they gave all of that water to the foreign corporations, the multinational corporations for their cotton growing. I'm sure many Australians will remember the plight of the farmers. Thousands of them lost generational farms. Thousands committed suicide as they watched water streaming past their properties that they could not access, while their crops shrivelled and their cattle died of thirst and starvation. The government built 35 massive dams in the Murray-Darling Basin region with our taxpayers' dollars, and they diverted those main river systems into those dams. The government allowed for the purchase of all of the land right at the head of those river systems to be bought up by those multinational corporations for growing cotton, and they provided them the water for that in the dams, water that our farmers and Australians could not access. We need to ensure Australians come first. We need to look after our farmers. They are the backbone of our country. They live with the earth. They get up at 3 to 4 in the morning and they work through. So from sunrise to sunset, to sustain us, they provide the food for our tables. Yet with all the food increases that we see, the taxes that are put onto the food, it's pocketed by the government. Our farmers aren't paid for this increase in food. You can go to the Facebook pages of Pilliga Defenders, which is Pilliga Defenders, Pilliga Push. There is also the Knitting Nanas. They are putting updates on everything that is occurring up there. Now there will be facilities up there. There are lots of camping grounds, and my understanding is there's a big showground that we are also looking at being able to use. So the facilities and amenities are all up there. We would like everybody, starting in January, starting as soon as you can, make your way up. If you can only spend a short time, so be it. If you can spend a long time up there, all the better, or if you can keep going up, would be amazing. We need to support these people. As I said, these amazing Gomeroi women have suffered a lot of abuse, aggression and assault, and unfortunately that has been caused by the police. It is concerning that the police drive around with Santos written on their vehicles. It is unfortunate that our police are being used as puppets in a political agenda, and I am sure most of them did not join the force for that purpose. I am sure they joined the force for honourable reasons. So 2023, everybody please make your way up to the Pilliga. It'll be well worth it, and it may be the last time and the last opportunity you'll get before it is utterly destroyed. This area is being sacrificed. It is a slaughter, an absolute desecration of that which sustains us. It is up to us to stand up and make demands. If we do not, our children and future generations have no hope. They will have no future. And it is imperative that people know we, the people, sit at the pinnacle. We are at the head of power. The Constitution was designed to provide us with protections and guarantees. It is the framework of law for our country based on the United States Constitution. It is nothing like the Westminster system. Westminster system, the Parliament is supreme. They can make laws as they choose. They are not answerable or accountable. However, the Australian Constitution puts we the people at the top, the Constitution below, and the government are our public servants. We elect them to adhere to our will. Unfortunately, everything seems to have flipped 180 degrees, and we have the government putting people whom they have selected in front of us to choose from for election. We must stand up. This country is going downhill, has been for decades. And keep in mind, every law that is created by Parliament in this land is subject to the Constitution. Currently, we are in a lawless land. This government is ignoring the Constitution, and they are ignoring their own federal and state acts. They are doing what they want. We are lawless. It is up to us Australians. Stand up and have your voices heard. That's how I started. I sat back a couple of years ago, nearly 3 years ago, and thought, one voice can make a difference. Do what your heart tells you. That's what I do. I go from my intuition. I follow my intuition and my heart. If we operate with truth, integrity and honour, and in God's name, in the Creator's name, we can't go wrong. Now it is important. These are times where everybody must stand up and raise their voice in the right frequency. We are the power people. Stand up and own it.